Take two. How we doing?
I'm good.
I know you are, man. I'm really struggling over here. I'm a fax machine, simply.
It's tough being a fax machine in 2025. Like I said, let's see if we can get all our peeps back in here and finish this off. I told everybody that was listening and tuning in that I guess this was just one big fax and we all just got played. So it's good to see we're back.
It's not a fax, as far as I know. It's FAXTS. All right, I just shared this link out again. Let's see how we do. Josh, thank you again for still being on the first fax podcast. Take two.
Yeah, like I said, I thought we were all getting faxed there for a second, but it's good to see that we're back and we're live. So I'm very happy to be a part of this first episode slash take two episode, so to speak. So I'm really honored to one just be on here because I love everything that you put out there and you do. So it's just an honor to be the first person.
Appreciate you, sir. And I was going to ask you, as my cord cables cut out, have you ever been faxed before, for real?
I have never legitimately been faxed. No. I have actually had, a couple of heart-dropping moments to where I was just scrolling quickly and I came across, a trade that looked completely impossible and immediately thought, well, that's got to be it and that's got to be him. So like I said, I've had a few heart-stopping moments, but nothing to the extent to where I was like, oh, that's happening.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, right? I mean, you've been ahead of your time a couple of times with your so-called facts, and then I think like a week or two later, a couple of them had actually happened. So it's been pretty fun to watch.
So Paul Skeens is not really a Houston Astro?
I did know that. I did know that. I think that'd be the one if there's probably one person at the top of the no trade list in Major League Baseball, I gotta say it's probably him.
That's good. It's good you read the fine print because not everyone does.
No.
A lot of people thought this would be a fax, and they were probably feeling like they were right at the beginning back in take one, which feels like forever ago already.
I agree 100%. People probably for sure thought this was just some big ruse that you and I had put together, and so it's good. It's good, guys. I'm glad that the guys that came back came back.
Appreciate Fax Nation for being patient, and appreciate Mr. Reddick here for joining us. Yeah, this is not a fax. This is real. Spread the word, share it out. Take two spaces link. Let's get it going. This is as real as your Hall of Fame Cancun numbers, which I'm just going to quickly read them. Career in Cancun Dome, 420 career average, 69 bombs, 330 runs batted in, 150 stolen bases, and 500 hair flips. Arguably the most impressive stat per StatFax.
I mean, that's the one that goes probably the most unnoticed in that stat line is the hair flips. If you don't have a good hair flip and a good product for your hair, you're going to go unnoticed, and we can't have that, especially when you're in the dome in Cancun.
All eyes on Cancun. I mean, it's always the case. The Cancun Astros wouldn't be who they are without you.
Why do you think the Cancun World Series is run pretty much the same time as the playoffs over here? It's not a coincidence. More viewers view in down there than they do up here. It's just more fun baseball.
Completely agree. Something else that's real, we actually met last October in Houston for the Going Yard Home Run Derby, which you were participating in, going up against YouTubers the likes of Eric Sim, The Natural, Cordell Green, Jose Canseco himself, shout out Prospect Dugout. In FAX Sports was covering that. What was it like for you going up against probably the biggest variety of baseball players that you'd faced?
We talked amongst ourselves as we called it the biggest lineup of degenerates the world's ever seen. So it was actually pretty funny that, from different, sides of the universe and all kinds of different unique personalities was just fun to be a part of. And I'm not big into the social media world, and I obviously I know who Eric Sims, the king of JUCO, is from his content. I really didn't know a bunch of the other guys, to be honest, until they got announced, and I kind of followed them that way. So it was good to get to meet these guys and not just like the social media personality. And then it was fun to see it come out, though. Like it was fun to see how much interaction like Eric got, like kids and teenagers were just wearing him out, like just talking so much trash to him. And the hard part was, not only that I haven't taken batting practice in years, was that, everybody was using a metal bat. I came into the place with my nice wooden bats ready to go, and everybody's got these nice old metal bats. I'm like, well, this is unfair. And, I haven't swung a metal bat since 2006, so you can imagine it wasn't the easiest thing to do in that regard. But it was a lot of fun to get out there and at least hit. I think I hit like 7 out, so that was pretty. I'll take that for just coming off the couch.
Yeah, you mentioned metal bats. I mean, I thought Aaron Judge was the only one who still used those that frequently, but they're still around.
They're out there, man. And the one that we were using was all red when it was one from back in the day, those exo grid bats that, you probably remember seeing a couple walk into the office with the mom or a dad, a kid walking in, a little pregame into the office. Just it was one of the best metal bats around, and everybody was just passing that thing around. It was a community bat that was just being used because it was the best chance we had because you just barely had to touch it and it would go pretty far.
Yeah, and you hit 7 out as far as we know. I mean, but you had a run where you probably had like 4 or 5 in a row. You hit one off the foul pole. I think you can still play for some of these teams. Probably Mest, the New York Mest, for sure. You can make their lineup.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for someone like me. And I mean, all it takes is 2 months. 2 months of training in, be ready to go. Don't even need spring training. Let's just make it happen. But I tell you, on the flip side of that, there's nothing better than being a stay-at-home dad and just hanging out with your two boys all day. So I think I'm doing all right.
That was a lot of fun, and yeah, great getting to put a face to the name. To your point, I want to get into the meat of our interview here, since my slow dial-up set us back a few. Going to start with your World Series championship run with the Houston Astros. Can you tell me, that was such a crazy year? I remember watching it out here in LA, avoiding fireworks from my neighbor, and it seemed like such a magical run for you guys going up against the Dodgers. What's one moment? Can you give us one moment from that run in 2017 with the Stros that still gives you chills?
I mean, if you're talking World Series, I mean, you obviously start with winning it, and going to Game 7, which is what every kid dreams of is playing in their backyard and winning Game 7 of the World Series. That's probably the one that just stands out the most. But then you look at the bigger, like probably a bigger moment was the Bregman walk off in Game 5. Like Game 5 was just a roller coaster of emotions from both teams taking the lead, and then they took the lead and we tied it. It was just up and so much up and down that you were just mentally and physically at the end of your leash that game, and to come out on top just made it that much more sweeter and special.
That was wild. Yeah, I remember the Bregman walk-off, and it seemed like every game that series, I mean, even Game 7, a lot of runs in the first inning. Darvish kind of struggled early. Every game was exciting, and you had runs, you had pitching, you kind of had it all.
It was not. It was definitely not a boring World Series. I mean, you go from losing Game 1, about to lose Game 2, be down 2-0 in the World Series, and Marwin Gonzalez steps up, hits a big game-tying homer off Kenley, and we end up winning in extras thanks to George Springer being really hot that week. So just all around, just special moments you can nitpick and you just pick them out and just realize how big moments really were. But it just really good baseball. Just two big powerhouses just going 10 full rounds, and just whoever comes out on top at that point is the winner.
Marwin Gonzalez, man, that's the name. Shout out Marwin real quick. Off Kenley, too. Crazy.
One of the biggest top 3 home runs in Astros history, without a doubt.
There should still be a lot of Marwin Gonzalez jerseys in Houston just because of that one game.
I'm sure there's plenty. And I actually saw today he was down in West Palm Beach in spring training, so he was hanging out with the boys.
Oh, nice. Good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Kenley, actually, he signed with the Angels, and I think he thought he was signing with the Dodgers. He actually was quoted, as far as we know, as saying, "I thought it was Dodgers." So I kind of feel for him.
I do remember seeing that quote on X a while back. But hey, man, so you get confused out there. It happens.
It does. LA, and then the rest, you just kind of assume Dodgers because they're getting everyone.
Yep.
Now I want to rewind a bit to, you had some years with the A's that you started in Boston, but arguably those years with the A's back when they were Oakland kind of really put you on the map, and you won a Gold Glove in 2012. Can you give me one defensive play that year, your Gold Glove year, that you're most proud of?
Oh yeah, I mean the one that stands out the most is what the late Ray Fosse dubbed the Spider-Man catch. And it was kind of weird because I went back to the wall because I thought I was going to have to climb it to rob a home run. And I timed it too early, but I jumped on the chain link and I kind of had to just hang there because I didn't have time to drop and adjust to catch. So I hung there for like a good 3 seconds, and then I hung on and caught the ball, and then I dropped down after I caught it. And therefore, Ray Fosse called it the Spider-Man catch. So it was kind of cool that, you know, Spider-Man being kind of like my nickname persona, and could be me. I could be Spider-Man. You don't know that.
You are, as far as we know.
As far as everybody knows. So it just made everything kind of connect and click, and just and not to mention that was just such a fun year with such a great team as well too. Just God, what a great fun year. Probably my second most favorite year in the big leagues was 2012 with the Oakland A's.
No, that's awesome. Do you think you could teach Jose Altuve how to make the Spider-Man catch in the outfield?
I mean, I could. He's athletic enough. The guy can get it done. He's just got to get his feel for it. That's all. And he got a little exposed yesterday in the game, and he just jumped a little early. But it's good to see those things happen in spring training, as opposed to April 20th down the line when we're looking at games that really matter. So get his reps out of the way, get practice, and he'll get there. He's an athlete. He can make that adjustment.
Especially with the booster seat, which I hear they're considering patting him up on a Raising Cane's booster seat. I did read that.
They need to get him some moon shoes. Remember moon shoes?
Yes.
Get him a set of moon shoes. He'll be set.
Moon shoes, maybe also some pumps.
Pumps, definitely Nike pumps. Pump them to the max. See what you got.
Now I want to shift gears to the offensive side. You had a game in 2013 against the Blue Jays where you hit 3 homers in a game. What was that like? How did that feel? Because that is so rare. Not anyone can say they've done something like that.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty special because it was at a time. It was my 2013. I consider my worst year in the big leagues. I just after coming off that big year, I just couldn't perform. I couldn't hit. I hurt my wrist, played through an injury, and then got surgery in the off season. But turned it around late. But just one of those years where you just kind of had like the sophomore slump, and you hear about the sophomore slump a lot, and it was just one of those down years. But when you look at that, I was actually doing awful. So it was great to see that I even hit a homer because it was like my first one in a month. And then the second one was kind of lucky because it was like a 1-2 fastball away that I just kind of tried to slap and I got under it and it carried. And then my third one I absolutely tried because it was a 2-0 fast or 2-0 or 3-1 fastball. And you got to try at that point because you've already got two. Your team's up. I think we're up by like 9. So um, yeah, it was definitely awesome. Awesome feeling when you look down the list of guys who have hit 3 homers in a game, and um, just to be mentioned in that company is a pretty awesome feeling. And then, the next day I ended up hitting 2, so it was cool to hit. I hit 5 in 2 games in 2 days, so that was pretty awesome. To say I was going up to the plate, I was going up to the plate knowing I was going to hit a home run. Like I was either going to walk or I was going to hit a home run. I felt like Barry Bonds.
I just checked with the FAX team. 5 homers in 2 games is in fact an MLB record.
It is. I think the list is probably around like, and there's actually like I think like 15 to 18 people who've actually done that feat, which is crazy.
That's wild. Do you remember, like, were they off different pitchers, your 3 homers, or were 2 off the same guy?
Let's see. The first one was off Esmil Rogers, the starter. The second one was off of Neil Wagner, a reliever that used to be with the Astros, hard thrower. The third one was off Juan Perez, lefty. The next day, the first one was off Mark Burley, and then the last one was off Casey Jansen, the closer.
Yeah, you tagged Burley. Nice.
Oh yeah, I had really good numbers against Burley all around, but that was the only time I got him for a homer.
I'm gonna assume the roof was closed for the 3-homer game.
Oh, 100%, absolutely.
See, that explains your comfort level in Cancun Dome.
When you take wind and atmosphere out of play, it becomes a completely different ball game. And those fly balls that get caught in the outside go out in the dome.
That's what I'm saying. If you make domes mandatory, we're gonna get like 10 runs, per team per game, and who would not want to see that?
We might be looking at a different steroid area without the steroids.
That
Balls
would be
just flying
awesome.
everywhere. Everybody will be happy.
Uh, I would love that. I got to pitch that to Manfred immediately.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna I'm gonna shift gears. You're a huge wrestling fan. Name one MLB player you'd love to take on in the ring.
Okay, that can go so many different ways because I'm only a 6'2", 195 guy. I'm not a big stocky guy, so I'm relying on speed and athletic ability. So I'm going to probably put myself against somebody like that as well, and a guy who's got a lot of good WWE knowledge as well as a guy named Adam Jones, Baltimore Orioles legend center fielder. He and I always had a great banter of wrestling antics on the field, and I knew from the get-go he was a big fan. So that I think that would be a really good match because of just not only the athleticism but the wrestling knowledge.
Adam Jones, the Orioles legend.
100%. And it was just a competitor, and a full competitor. That guy would go out there and bust his butt every day, and it didn't matter if they were up 10, down 10, or they were tied.
That's awesome. So you're saying you would not choose Jordan in the ring?
Probably not. Only thing,
I think that's
only
wise.
thing I would have on my side there would be stamina. But as soon as he gets me, I'm done.
That's a wise choice,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. That's why he's heavyweight division. I'm like the lightweight division.
That's some good advice there. Speaking of advice, what's one piece of advice you'd give your rookie self with the Red Sox back in '09?
Oof, man. 22-year-old Josh Reddick. Oh, just slow down and take a step back. I think when I look back at '09, when I got called up and made my debut, it was so overwhelming because that was all I ever wanted to do as a kid was just be a ball player in the big leagues. And I just, through high school and, as I got older and older, it became more of a dream and a reality at the same time. But like deep down, you always say you're going to make it. And then when it really happens, it kind of just clicks this feeling inside you that you literally can't explain. So just to be able to kind of calm myself down, take that step back and kind of realize, this is still baseball, Josh. You're just in a bigger atmosphere. Play the baseball game like it's the backyard game, kind of so to speak. You play it like you're in the backyard. Take everything else out of play. It just slow down because I think I just let the overwhelmingness of being in the big leagues take over a little too much.
And that's not easy to do in Boston because those fans are diehard.
Exactly. And I was in Baltimore, made my debut in Baltimore. So is for people that don't know, that's Fenway South. And this is, '09, '10. So this is when Boston was way better than Baltimore. So it was literally just Red Sox fans. It was like a home game. So that might have helped ease it a little bit, but it was still very overwhelming because I was just so excited to be there. And not only that, like the dugout that I had, like the team that I came into was just full of absolute stud veterans. Because I mean, we're talking the Red Sox, so you go around, and we had Euclid, Mike Lowell, Marco Scutero, like Pedroia, Veritek, Beckett, Wakefield, Lester, Buchholz,
Goats.
Papelbon, Carl Crawford, Ellsbury, J.D. Drew. Like I just named like 17 guys on that roster, and that was just. And I'm a 22-year-old kid, I don't. These guys, I just grew up watching TV 3 years ago. I was watching these guys on television like 3 or 4 years ago. It's
The
just wild.
goats. The goats of Boston. And you got drafted '06, correct?
Correct. Drafted '06. I was the last year of the draft and follow. And then I signed an '07 contract and reported to spring training in '07.
So yeah, you kind of. I mean, a lot of people. I see one of our listeners here is Grant Holmes, as far as we know, and he spent 10 years, arguably more in the minors. But speaking of kind of slowing down, you were probably conditioned to think, oh, a couple years in the minors, I'm here, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, I thought that, I didn't think I was going to get called up as soon as I did. I was only 2.5 years into my minor league career. I was not a prospect. We had drafted, I think, three outfielders ahead of me who had big signing bonuses. So, but my first, I think, year and a half, almost full 2 years, I hit above 300, and I just kept hitting and hitting, and those guys didn't. And, at that point, once you hit the double A, it don't matter if you're a prospect anymore. They're going to take who's going to get the job done. And that's what it was about. And then injuries happen in the big league. So it kind of just flew into my lap, so to speak. And it was wild because, I got called up from double A, which in double A, we had a night game before in one city, took the bus like 7 hours to the next city, got in at, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I get called at like noon to go to Baltimore for a 7 o'clock game.
Oh,
So it all happened really fast and on no sleep, but it was just like just a crazy day. Like I got to the hotel and I wasn't even going to be activated. I didn't know I was going to be activated. I was just there just in case they needed me. So like I had a 2 day like vacation basically to hang out in the hotel. Well, I get to the hotel and I put my key in the door and Theo Epstein calls me and says, "We need you to come over." So I just dropped my suitcase and turned right back around and got in the cab.
whatever Theo wants.
Oh, that was it. That was the start of the career right there. And
Speaking of careers, how's being an analyst? So right now, currently, second year? You're a pre-post analyst for the Astros on Space City Network.
yep, I would call myself, I guess, a baseball analyst at this point because I do pre-game and post-game analysis with the Space City Home Network here in Houston. So, yep, I just get to go to the ballpark, hang out, and just see the guys and talk about it in a different perspective. I get to give kind of I call it the Josh answer and not the baseball answer because when you're giving interviews, you gotta keep it straightforward and give them the right answer. Whereas to this one, I can be a little bit more vague and out there and kind of speak my mind a little bit more, so to speak. But it's been fun. It's been fun to be on that side because it keeps me close to the game, but doesn't get me very close enough to the game. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, different take, different POV. It's kind of one big difference from actually playing in the games. You kind of take a step back.
Right.
I want to go back to your baseball career. Toughest pitcher you ever faced, and what made them so hard to hit?
Okay, so there's actually a couple that can be brought up, but the one who gets me the worst is probably Tyler Clippard. And there's probably about, I think, 10 at bats against him or so. And I think there's 7 or 8 strikeouts. It's just my least favorite pitch was always the split finger slash forkball because it's a fastball until it's not, until
Yep.
it's off the table. So, and he had really good both of them. And his 87 looked like 97 because his fork and split were so disgusting. Just couldn't touch him. Felix, King Felix, I faced him probably 65 times, and it was not pretty. That changeup is so nasty, and he always lined up with us in Oakland on purpose because he did really well against us. And in 4.5 years, we never beat Felix.
Wow.
And when I was in the green and gold, we never beat Felix. And then I put on my first game with the Astros in 2017. Opening day, we're facing Felix in Houston, and we put up like 10 against him in the first 2 innings. I was like, holy crap, this is what this is like.
Karma. King Felix karma right there.
Oh, it was so nice. And then the third one gets a good mention is David Price because he's so frustrating because it was all fastballs for like 90% of the time. Cutter, two-seamer, just couldn't get the head out on either one. And then later on in our careers, he started throwing me that disgusting changeup and started punching me out more. So those three are definitely top of the list. And if we're going to talk about the guys I hated, we got to talk about the guys I did success against, right?
Absolutely. Pitchers
Okay,
you owned. Let's hear it.
okay, good. Because we can't just bash myself. We got to give myself a little love.
Oh, absolutely.
So I named three guys. So I'll name three on the positive side. There's Ross Detweiler, who, for those that maybe not know Ross, not a very big name, but a big prospect, big name in the draft of 2006. I faced him way back then, and he was Team USA. I was Team Georgia, playing in this random All-Star game in the middle of the summer of '06. And we get stomped 14-1. Like these guys are just loaded. They got Jamal Weeks at second. They got Sean Doolittle at first. They got, I think it was Buster catching. Just Julio Bourbon was in center, like just all around. I think Justin Upton might have been in left. Like it was just you know, 1 through 9, there was no weakness, and it was insane. But I got 3 hits off of Detweiler that day. I hit a home run. Um, so that kind of upped my draft stock. But even into the minors and in the big leagues, I would always get a home run off of him. So I've got like maybe 5 career homers against him, all the way back from college to the big league.
That's a traitorous move from Buster playing against Team Georgia.
It is. It is kind of messed up, especially because he's South Georgia. He should be a little bit more homegrown love for that. But you know what? He was the gift to everything of baseball at that point, so he could do whatever he wanted.
Well, we got
Um,
to get Detweiler faxed.
oh, we got to get him. And it's funny because I've watched the videos of me hitting home runs, and it's just eye roll after eye roll because I know in his mind he's just going, God, I cannot get this guy out. And then I text him after the game, just like the emoji with the sunglasses on, and get a middle finger back. So it was great. And then there's another guy, Anthony Bass, good reliever for a number of years. Just I always had his number. I think there was an 8 at bat stretch where I went like double homer walk, sac fly, homer, sac fly, walk. It was just he didn't get me out, and it was just pretty impressive. But I always liked facing him, just a righty reliever who had a good slider, and he just always left it up for me, and I'd hit it out.
Would you kind of trash talk text most of these pitchers that you owned? Was it pretty common?
No, it's just Detweiler and I had such a long history that we had passed each other in the minors and exchanged and hung out and had drinks together, in the minors and just kind of hung out. And we just kind of became a little bit of buddies, and it just became an ongoing joke, but it wasn't really a joke because it was true. So, but it was no like hard feelings at all. We were all in good fun about it, but he was probably the only one I ever did that to.
That's awesome. Very,
On the field banter was more popular than text banter.
and that's the stuff that they don't always catch on the camera.
No, not at all. That's when you got the pitcher walking around you with his glove over his mouth, and you're running right by him after you do something cool or fly out or something. And I can remember like Jeff Samardzija and John Lackey, both former teammates of mine, and I'd get a hit off of him or ground out, and they'd both come out. You're not getting that fastball and taking me deep, you rookie. Like just little things like that, just to make you laugh and have a good time.
Lackey always seemed to have this kind of intense fire look.
Oh, he did. He did. He definitely was not afraid to call you out either. He would yell at you and let you hear his feelings, which I thought was great because if we screwed up, we should have known better, and somebody had to let us hear it. So made me respect him more.
I mean, wow. Lackey. I mean, I still remember watching him in '02, shutting down Bonds and the Giants in the World Series. Epic.
Right, right. And then if I just remembered one. If I can go, which one that nobody will expect is Chris Sale. I've always had really good success against Sale, which is crazy because you think about lefty and how disgusting he is. But I think I'm like over. I know I'm over 300. No homers, a couple doubles, but I think in the 17 playoffs he got me out once in that division series. Um, but it was always good because I always knew he was going to throw a fastball. I always knew he was going to throw a slider, and it was just always right. And right before my career ended, at least, he came up to me and was just like, "Man, some explicitives were thrown out there, but he's like, I hate you, man. I can't stand it. Like, what am I doing?" And I told him at that point, I was like, "Look, man," I said, I know what you're going to do against lefties. You can't pitch lefties in. You're going to hit them. And I said, "Go check your video." And sure enough, he came back the next day in batting practice and said, "Holy shit, you're right." And then after that, he tried throwing in, but he could never throw strikes into lefties. He would always leave it running in.
So you can say that you own a Triple Crown winner.
I wouldn't say own him. I just said I had great success. I wouldn't know if ownage would be the verbiage I would use, but great success because I don't think there was like any damage. It wasn't like I drove in runs against him. It was just I got hits against him.
Owned as far as we know.
Right.
No, that's cool. That's a big part of it is the location because
Oh,
you can handle velocity if you know where it's going, right?
absolutely. So you just look for that fastball away and hit it the other way, and if he throws you the slider, steal it up and pull.
That's awesome. I want to shift gears a little bit. Your twin boys, Maverick and Ryder. They're what, around six or seven?
They are five. They're
Five. Okay, I'm
five.
rounding up.
Yep.
I'm rounding up.
They turned 6 in October.
Very cool. What's one baseball skill you want to teach them?
Oh man, just we had baseball practice tonight, and it was just Ryder with me tonight. So he's got this weird thing now where he's trying to spin backwards to hit the ball, where he takes his eye off the ball and then tries to hit. But you know, at this point, nothing because they're five. You're not really trying to teach them anything. Just go out there and have fun. Like that's the biggest number one rule about baseball. No matter if you're 5, 35, 25, 18, have fun. Because when you're having fun, everything else is going to fall into place. Like go out there and have a good time. But when you get older, Daddy will step in and teach you what you want to know and what you need to know. Because right now there'd be no point for me trying to teach him. I got into my batting cage here with him at times, and he'll go, "Daddy, I'm gonna go hit." All right, perfect, bud. And I'll watch, and I'll try to talk to him, and he'll get a little attitudey with me, and I was just like, "Son, I'm literally the best person to teach you how to hit in your life." Like, I
Right.
don't get it. I don't get it. They don't understand, man. They're five. They don't understand what we do. We're just dad.
And I think you mentioned that one of them was really good at soccer too.
That's Ryder as well. Ryder loves soccer. Um, he's pretty good at it. He's a little shy about getting the ball from people, but he loves running and kicking that thing. And my other one, Maverick, he's my go-kart racer. He is into it. He's really good for a 5-year-old. Him and my wife are actually out of town right now at a race up near Dallas that he has tomorrow, and they had to practice today. So he's up there, and we had baseball, and tomorrow, Ryder and I tomorrow night are actually going to go see the Houston Dynamo soccer game, and we get to walk out with the team and bring the game ball out, and so that'll be a cool experience because Ryder loves soccer, so he'll get to carry the game ball and walk out on the field and the pitch. I'm sorry, it's called the pitch.
Yeah, just a feel.
Sorry, it's the pitch. And so it's gonna be a cool moment for him to get to experience that because I know he handles it so well that my wife's gone with Maverick, and he gets to have all these things every weekend. So, but it's going to be good to have him have something that's his own thing to do, and
Absolutely.
his own little experience of his interest.
That's cool. That's super cool. Do you think there are any skills from soccer that would translate over into baseball?
Stamina. I love the stamina of soccer. I myself played soccer for probably 8 years of my life as a kid, just to keep my cardio up for baseball season. I think it's very beneficial for health, stamina, and just staying in shape. You're
Yeah,
building leg,
I
you're
think
building leg muscle and leg strength, and that's everything that you need in baseball.
because I mean flopping probably wouldn't translate over to baseball well.
We don't teach flopping. We play like men.
There you go.
We play like men. We don't flop. We get up and we brush ourselves off and go back. But you're right. Flopping does not translate.
I mean, fax machines cannot flop. We can look at a floppy drive, but that's awkward.
It'd be an awkward thing to have a floppy drive within your view. That'd be just horrible misplacement by a human being.
What's one at bat you wish you could take again? All the teams you've been on, all the pitchers you faced. If there's one that kind of lingers, uh,
Well,
yeah,
there's one.
yeah.
There's one. And if I have any Oakland A's fans listening, you know where I'm going with this. The 2013 ALDS, Max Scherzer. I want to say might have been Game 4, three or four. I can't remember. And bases loaded, 1 out. He comes in out of the bullpen, goes 3-0 on me. 3-0 I take fastball. Then I foul off probably four or five fastballs after that, and he throws me the most disgusting changeup. And I swing right over the top of it. Then he ends up getting out of the inning after that, and it was just pandemonium because it was on the road in Detroit. And it was the biggest moment of the series, and it was just absolutely disgusting. And how ballsy of a pitch that was for him to make in that situation too. So it was just, and they were down 1 run. Like if I stood on that, it's a tied ball game, different outcome. You just never know. So it was just a very big picture play and a big picture moment.
Scherzer's just a beast. I mean, plus that was a time when you had more predictable fastball counts, and he's still doing whatever he wants to do.
Oh gosh, it's Mad Max for a reason, man. He's looking at you like he's ready to go up there and beat your ass, you know. He looks like he's ready to fight. His intensity is just through the roof.
You think he's still got a lot left in the tank for the Blue Jays?
I think he's got enough left in the tank to get the job done. He may not be what he was with, Washington and Detroit days, but I mean, obviously he's aging, but he has no signs of slowing down, it seems like, outside of the injury bug. If he can stay healthy, then it seems like he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Now I want to shift into some questions from fans that we had submitted from FAX Nation. Andrew C. from Instagram wants to know, who's your favorite teammate or best clubhouse teammate from your time with the Astros?
Oh man, it's got to be Springer. From day one, Springer and I got along great. Um, and I reached out. The funny thing is, when I signed, I reached out to George. I got his number through the grapevine, and I reached out to him, and I just told him like, "Hey man, I really appreciate you moving over to center for me." Blah blah blah. And then I sent him a clip of me throwing him out in 2014 in right field, and I said, "That's why you got moved to center, by the way. I'll see you in spring training." And then from that day forward, we were good buddies, and you know we would go to dinners together, go eat together, and just we play video games together. That was back when Fortnite was huge, so George and I were on the sticks pretty much every night, whether we were on the road or at home, and just having a dang good time, man. Just get to know each other and just getting to be in that brotherhood.
Springer is such a underrated defender from my point of view, probably not from yours because you played with the guy for so long and know him so well. But anytime I see Web Gem Springer doing his thing, I'm impressed at the guy. Very impressed.
Oh yeah, definitely a very underrated outfielder that doesn't get much love for his glove, but he's a very well tuned athlete. He's very well put together as a human being, and the things that he can do are just freakishly unhuman, and it's wild to watch him. One thing I would like to see from him is learning how to run into the wall. He kind of just runs all into that thing, and it doesn't matter how padded it is, it's going to hurt. So I think he needs to kind of learn how to run into the wall and slow down a little bit, but I don't think he's ever going to learn that because that's just who he is. He's max effort everything, and that's just how he plays.
So were you and him out there in the field when they had the flagpole on the hill in Houston?
No, so I wasn't an Astro when Taos Hill was taken out. I think Taos Hill was taken out in 2015,
Okay.
16 maybe 2016. I think it was the first or second season without it after I got there.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a good thing. That thing took like at least 3 homers for me that turned into triples, but yeah, I don't. I mean, it's all good. You can leave it in there for the uniqueness of it. I'm all for that, but you gotta put the flagpole somewhere else. You can't have the flagpole in play.
I always thought that was wild. Yeah.
It's always dangerous watching guys run up that already, and then you worry about a flagpole. Like that's just too much.
It's crazy to think that was not part of Manfred Bowl.
No doubt. Like that's something he would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Got another fan question from Owen A on Instagram. What was the A's clubhouse like in 2012? And who were the big clubhouse leaders who helped you reach success that year and the years following?
Oh man. I remember spring training in 2012 just being a complete like it was like speed dating. You literally had to meet everybody because it was so many new faces, and we were always so young and inexperienced. Like it was like walking into like almost like a minor league clubhouse, so to speak, when you first got there. But how close we became early on was pretty cool because I think we went to Tokyo. We started in Tokyo that year against Seattle, and really got to have like a lot of team bonding events that Major League Baseball had us set up to where we get to go experience the culture of Tokyo and go out and explore. So we got to know each other that way too in spring training before the season started. We just became this so underrated group that nobody wanted to win, and I think we kind of all took that personal. We pulled a Michael Jordan, we took that personally, and
Yeah.
we embraced the platoon of a team that had pretty much moving parts every night. And I think that's what made it successful because there really weren't a lot of egos in there that were too proud to not do certain things. Um, and it was just fun, we had so many walk-offs that year that we just knew that if we were in the ninth inning down like two or three, we were going to walk it off. And then come to find out we need every single one of them. And looking back, and you win 160 game 162 to take the division. Like there's no better way to write that. That's literally the script for Moneyball 2 right there.
That's a crazy year. Yeah, totally.
And but when you look at clubhouse leaders for me, it was Covelli, Coco Crisp.
Best name in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And Johnny Gomes. Two completely different guys with how they are, but just two guys that were so beneficial to me as a 25-year-old kid in the Bay Area. I'm from South Georgia. I come from a completely different world. So I didn't really know how to handle myself in that area. I was kind of a loudmouth. So Coco did a really good job of calming me down as that loudmouth and really kind of growing up as a person. Obviously, we worked well together, being outfield teammates who played center and right together. Got to know him really well that way. And then the dinners and the drinks that he took me out on. He always took me under his wing and took care of me, that veterans always do. Um, but yeah, it really took me under his wing. And Johnny was just so great because he was a guy who wasn't going to play every day, was completely fine with it, and showed up every day and worked his butt off. It didn't matter what he was doing. If he was doing outfield drills, hitting, extra hitting, working out, everything, he was doing something to make him better. And I think that really helped my work ethic as a player to see this guy I think he was like 30, 31 at the time, do this. And here I am at 25, kind of complaining about certain things. And it really made me focus on how to get ready every day and how to do that the right way, keep my body where I needed to be.
Gomes, man, I remember Gomes, A's teams, the Red Sox teams, and the Rays. He kind of had this intense vibe about him, and he might not have been the top performing all-star player in the team, but to your point, those clubhouse guys that build the chemistry. Everyone knows I'm a Braves fan. Fax is a Braves fan. Jock Peterson from our 21 run, he was that clubhouse guy. That is arguably the most valuable kind of guy on the team.
It is. It's definitely something that goes unnoticed because guys like that are so rare in the game of baseball. And you look around the league at him and you look at his like 4-year stretch where he went from like 2012 Oakland A's, turned us around, 2013, went to the Red Sox, won a World Series there, had a big World Series, goes to 2014, stays with Boston, gets traded back to Oakland during our awful, awful second half, turns us around, gets us back to the playoffs. Goes off to, I can't remember where he was in 15, um, but goes off somewhere, gets traded to Kansas City, wins a World Series with Kansas City, and then I don't even remember where he went after that. But like you just think of he won two rings, and obviously he contended more with the Red Sox, but he didn't really play. I don't think he played one inning with the Royals, but he was their top step in uniform every night, and that's the guy that gets the boys going, gets the boys hot, keeps everybody happy. Clubhouse, bus rides, on the field, in the dugout. He's the guy. He's the hype guy that just keeps everybody upbeat and makes you want to go out there and fight, makes you want to go out there to go to war. And that's so rare. There's very few guys in that category.
Yeah, I'm checking his career stats. 2014 is the last thing they got, so he did not play a game with the Royals. But to your point, being that vocal supporter, that almost like a uninformed, like a casual manager, informal manager kind of role.
Exactly, like player coach kind of guy, but like before COVID happened, that guy used to make 2-year, 13, $14 million deals just to play two starts a week and get here a pinch hit here and there. And since COVID happened, obviously the game's changed so much since then. But like teams used to pay for guys like that all the time. But now they don't. They just rather call up a young kid to do it. So it's pretty crazy to see all the older guys that had that winning mentality. Like I remember Jay Bruce was a guy like that. Jay Bruce is a perfect example like that.
Talk about a big lefty.
Donkey of a lefty. Donkey.
We got a question from Fred H on Instagram. favorite memory from each team you played with, excluding the Diamondbacks. Just kidding.
Touche. Um, this is a great question because there's so many. Fortunately, there's so many great moments in my career that I can hardly break down. Um, but yeah, you go start to Boston. The one that sticks out, my first career walk-off hit, it was actually obviously not in Boston. Everybody knows that, you dummy. It's against the Yankees, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. I think it's like August 30th, first September is about to kick in. And we're tied for first place, and I had a walk-off double to put us in first place. So it was just like all kind of magnified into one big cool moment of Red Sox Yankees rivalry on Sunday Night Baseball. So the whole country's watching, and they intentionally walked Carl Crawford to get to me. So it was just all set up to be like, oh, this kid's not going to do this, and to be able to do that on like one of the bigger stages of baseball in that day and age, like that was pretty cool moment for a 24-year-old kid.
I bet Sunday Night Baseball back in the day was prime time. That was it. That was a big deal.
That was it. If you weren't staying up late to watch that was the first one you were trying to find on Sports Center the next day.
And that's the rivalry, the ultimate rivalry too.
Oh yeah, and then you move on to 20. You go to 2012. I'm already gave my answer, but the A's 2012 with the A's. I mean, when you look at game 162 of that season, that's hard to beat in the 4.5 years that I spent there. Obviously, had a lot of great moments, 3 playoff runs, but when you look at that season and that game, to be down 5-1 in like the third, fight back, and then Josh Hamilton drops the fly ball. We get the lead, and we knew we weren't going to lose it at that point, and it just became such a magical moment because out of those last 10 games, I think we had to win like 7 or 8 to have a chance, and all the Texas Rangers had to do was win like 4 of their last 10, and they choked. So it was just, I mean, they did. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's not me being rude or mean. It's just they
Straight up
choked.
facts.
I mean, hey, I was in that boat the year before. The September of the 2011 Red Sox was worse than that. So that's the chicken and beer year for people that don't know. So it was just all a magical moment to be a part of that, and just have that feeling to be and to do it at home. Obviously, is super special too.
So Hamilton had a Aaron Judge moment before Aaron Judge with the drop ball.
Yeah, high fly ball to shallow center, man. That sun gets to be a pain in the butt in those day games, but he just overran it. He overran it and missed. So lucky us. And then you move on to I guess I got to do the Dodgers. Um,
I love how excited you are to the Dodgers memory.
oh yeah, I don't I say I love my time in Dodger Town. It's just a fan base I didn't get along with, so that's where we'll leave it at that. And but my favorite moment was probably being getting to be a part of Vin Scully's last season.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, a baseball icon. When you mention Major League Baseball, you can't mention Vin Scully. So I think just being a part of that, getting to meet the guy, talk to him, and just listen to him talk. I could listen to that man talk for hours and just tell stories because I love hearing baseball stories. And he's seen probably about 97% of the possibilities in any given moment of a baseball game happen. So he remembers every single one of them. We'll be talking something at the table at dinner after a game, and I remember this one time in 1944 when so and so did that in the 7th inning of the home game against Brooklyn. I'd be like, golly, you go, Vin. I'm listening, baby. So and that
Real
was it.
encyclopedia. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was his last career Grand Slam call, so that's a pretty cool moment. That's a pretty cool feeling.
That's huge.
Yeah. And then you go to Astros. Astros season. There's, I mean, obviously that goes back to favorite moment with the Astros is always going to be number one, the World Series. That's always going to be your answer for number one. But two, on a more personal note, was the next year ring night, playing Baltimore, getting our rings, doing the whole pregame ceremony, geeked out, wearing the cool gold jerseys with the hat with the gold on it. Um, and I ended up having probably one of the better games of my career. I robbed a 3-run homer, hit a 2-run homer, and then hit a big grand slam late in the game. So that was cool because obviously it was a packed house, sold out crowd. Pretty much the whole city of Houston, who's a baseball fan, was tuning in because it was ring night and it was a close game. So it was just a cool moment on a cool night to have a big game like that. And then I guess I got to go Diamondbacks. So there weren't many good moments with the Diamondbacks, so it makes it easy. Um, so we were in the middle of, I think, like a 20 game losing streak. Just vibes are awful. Everybody's just down. Playing the Mets in Arizona, and we ended up coming back. And as a kind of like a joke and kind of loosen the vibes up, get everybody's attention up, and I shaved a mohawk into my head. I did a no guard, so I was like bald, and then I had a mohawk. And like the day before, well, the next day I found like this Arizona Diamondback red hair gel. It made my hair red and like that dark red, and I could wash it out every night. So I colored it. Well, we're playing the Mets that night. I ended up hitting the walk-off double to end the losing streak the day after I made my mohawks. It was a kind of a cool full circle moment that kind of happened at the perfect moment. Like, oh, you're shaving a mohawk, it's not going to work, but it actually, like, obviously it's not the mohawk, it just happened. But it was just all around cool moment that the guy who did the mohawk got the walk-off double. It was just a really, really, really fun game.
I love the Houston gold memory because a lot of times those gold uniform, gold hat, it's opening day or it's early in the season because you're commemorating what happened the season before. And sometimes those games can be kind of anticlimactic or not as dramatic, but it sounds like that was just an epic game for you.
Oh, it was. It was all around. We won. I think we scored 10 runs. So it was all around game, and I think they scored like six. So it was definitely a good score, high run scoring game for that. And what I really love is the Royals did it in 16. They wore their gold jerseys all the time. They wore it year round at home.
Oh, no way. Forgot.
And we tried to pitch that, and they wouldn't let us do it. We tried to get that for 18. Like, can you let us just wear it for one game every homestand? Like, kind of like the City Connects, like, can we do it like on a Friday night home game? Like, that'd be sick.
What was
Gold
the reason?
jerseys Friday night.
How come they said no?
I honestly can't remember. I honestly have no idea.
That's a great idea, though.
Absolutely.
Especially
You'd make more. Just think about it. That's more jersey sales. You put more gold jerseys in the team store. Everybody's going to wear them on Friday night.
Yeah, and a lot of the connects, I mean, I just saw the Rangers just dropped a Tata City Connect jersey. They're doubling down on Tatas, and a lot of the connects are just bad.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Rangers are just going to embrace that negativity. They're going to just, I guess, two negatives do make a positive if you're in science class. So I guess they're going with that theory.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, it's been reported, but we don't know for facts yet. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Do you like the new Astro City Connects?
I actually do. I actually do like them. I think, ironically, I think they need more orange, and that's coming from me, who's a Georgia Bulldog fan and despises the color orange.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think there needs to be more orange. I like the white, but I think if you put more orange in it, I think it just would have popped out a little more because now it kind of looks more just like a home jersey. Looks more just like a home game jersey on a normal night, but I think they could have done a little bit more pizzazz to it.
Take a page out of the Orioles book and go just full on all orange.
I love those. That's a lot of orange, but I actually love that for them. I don't think the Astros would look good. They need something else, but maybe put a space shuttle on that thing or something. Orange space shuttle going up the front. That'd be pretty cool. But
I think we just got our next Astro City Connect right here. Space shuttle jersey.
I'm just a retired old man.
We got another fan question from Kirk_Zilla on Instagram. What was it like beating the Dodgers on their home field in Game 7 of the 2017 World Series? You've touched on it briefly. I'm sure that was just kind of sweet redemption for you after the year prior. And I remember my neighbor was just totally quiet. No fireworks that night. Didn't have to call the cops. It was awesome.
Probably broke his TV, but like most Dodger fans, he probably tuned out in the seventh inning.
I think he did.
So that makes a lot of sense why that happened. But it felt amazing. I mean, just winning the World Series for one is just a special feeling. Then you go to Game 7, you do it on the road where you're not supposed to win in big moments like that, and But yeah, for me as a player and personally, it hit a little bit more to home because of the way I was handled by the fan base there, and we fell short the year before as a team, which we thought we should have had a good shot of winning it. Um, but yeah, I think you always just get I always say you always get a little more extra bump in your game when you're playing former teams, um, especially kind of ones you had bad blood with in the fan base. So definitely meant a little more beating those guys, and it's obvious. It's a big franchise. It's the Dodgers, not just that. This is a team that's been around for years and years and years, and is a very historic franchise. And when you look at that bigger picture, we went through the three big markets of baseball to win the World Series. So when you look at it that way, it makes it that much more awesome as well.
Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, right?
Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, 4 games, 7 games, 7 games. Almost played the max.
Yeah, that's the ultimate trifecta. Did you have a moment with Vince Scully after in 17, or did you get a chance to talk to him from the other side of the diamond?
I did not. I did not because I don't even know if he was at every game. He came and did like a first pitch thing in game 2, I think, or game 7 maybe. I can't remember which game it was. But no, at that point, when you're in Dodger Town, there's really no room for or no time for mingling with all those people unless you see them before the game, and definitely didn't see them on our side. But not really. The celebrity list was impressive too, though. But couldn't get caught up in all that, man. This is World Series.
Epic, man. So epic.
Hmm.
Got another, speaking of epic, got a question involving superheroes here. I think I might already know the answer to it. This is from Kristen S on Instagram. If you could be Ric Flair, since you're a big wrestling fan, or Spider-Man for a day, which would you choose and why?
Spider-Man. That's what why who wouldn't want to be Spider-Man for a day?
Fair.
I mean, Ric Flair, great wrestler, great career, uh, lifetime of struggles. I don't think I would want to go down that road. I mean, the man was, it's in his documentary about how much he partied. I don't think I could have handled that. I'd have been croaked over. So, um, but I mean, Spider-Man. I mean, I get to shoot webs, fly around, and swing from buildings. In this case, where I'm at, fly around trees, but still, Spider-Man.
That's
Superhuman
all you ask.
strength.
Yeah.
I got the Peter tingle. I'm set.
I remember you actually pulled up in a Spider-Man in Houston, the Going Yard Derby. You arrived in, what was it, a Spider-Man Porsche or Ferrari or
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini Lambo, Spider-Man
Yep.
Lambo.
Yep. I always say I got the Lamborghini after we won the World Series. So George Springer and like guys like him and Altuve helped me get a World Series Lamborghini. So I took my playoff share and bought that, and then a couple years later, my wife got it wrapped for Christmas, and that's what's on it now. Spider-Man wrap on it.
That's epic. I love it.
I love it. I love it. It's my favorite thing ever.
If I was Spider-Man, I would just use the webs to just put out every single Roman candle my neighbor launched, and just I could cut out the cops completely and just handle business.
Oh my gosh, you'd be yeah. I mean, or just yeah. I mean, your reaction time would be elite anyway, so you could do it any way you wanted. You could do it before it started, or if you want a little challenge, just get it as they go. As soon as they pop off, start dropping them to the ground. The best part is you can just zip it right over the Dodger neighbor's mouth and game over.
Man, I'm dreaming of that moment. I got one question that came through on Instagram from LJA, and he wants to know. This is actually literally right now. Just asked me how you celebrated the 2017 World Series win.
It was actually a very mellow night after leaving the field. I mean, everybody saw me in the American flag speedo in the clubhouse popping champagne.
That's
It's probably a
mellow.
little more than it's probably a little bit more than everybody wanted to see of me, but I was having a good time. And but we all went back to the team hotel, and they had like the top bar closed off for us, but it was kind of tight and it's very overwhelming. There was a lot of people. I don't do big crowds well like that in tight spaces, and my family was with me, so we kind of just went back to my hotel room and just processed it all and talked about it and had a couple of drinks and went to bed. So it was kind of a chill night,
Had some
but
facts light.
over but definitely yeah, for me it was more vodka, probably vodka Red Bulls at that point, but I don't touch the beer light or anything like that. I go full out. I don't want to do anything light.
Fax Daniels, maybe.
Maybe some Fax Dangers or some Fax Tito's.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, sometimes those celebrations are kind of best with the smaller groups, intimate kind of moments. You can kind of just kind of branch off and really soak it up.
Exactly. Yeah. And, the hard part about it was, it was LA, so it would have been hard for us to really go anywhere public to celebrate anyway. So
Good point. Good
probably
point.
it's probably best we stayed in our hotel. We probably should have just got the downstairs bar instead of the upstairs bar, but it is what it is. We won the World Series, and that was all that mattered.
Totally. Epic year, epic run, and a worthy celebration, it sounds like. Josh, those are all the questions we had for myself and Fax Nation. I want to leave you just with a chance to plug what you're up to nowadays, anything upcoming, stuff that's coming out of the pipeline on Space City Network. Feel free.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the Space City Network, that's pretty much all I've got upcoming for me. I'm doing probably, I think, around 25 games this year. I think I'm filling in for maybe 4 games on the Astros radio network at some point during the year. So other than that, just we're active on social media. So keep tuning in, and hopefully I can interact with most of you, if not all of you, at some point.
And can you tune into that if you're not in Houston? Is there like an app or online, or if you're a fax
I,
machine, can you dial in?
I would have to check on the application process. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's local for the TV network here, but I'm not sure. I know at today's age, there's got to be an app. If there's not an app, there's definitely a website you can tune in and listen to. Um, I'm kind of upset I don't know the station. I should know the station because I heard it for so long, but um, I think it actually probably be on the Astros website. So you can definitely, if you can basically navigate web pages, you should be able to find it pretty good.
Well, that's good, but I literally don't have fingers to navigate a computer. So,
Well, then I'm not talking to you. You're just gonna have to wait for the updates in the paper the next day.
y'all heard it here first. Josh Reddick, I want to thank you for joining us, kicking off the Fax is Dialed In podcast. We had a slight semi-fax moment at the beginning, but we made it happen.
We
Thank you
made
for your time.
we made it happen. I'm glad.
Appreciate you, Josh.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Fax Nation, thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all later.